My Christian Radio. Welcome to a Better Way show. We've got Dave here.
Hey, I'm Bill.
Hi from Steve.
And this week we're talking about the things that are occurring in the world. There's just random acts of violence everywhere.
Just people are getting mad for no reason at all. They don't. I don't understand it, but you know, it's in the Bible that these things are going to occur.
Yeah, it's
prior
like,
to
go ahead.
well, prior to the return of the Lord.
It's almost like that movie, The Ghostbusters, and you see all those demons get loosed.
Oh yeah, right out of the firehouse, they just come spewing out of there.
Exactly, and it's like, you know, people don't realize. I talked to a lady once that, you know, God lets you see things, and He lets you see things in many ways. And this lady wanted to see what her eyes weren't seeing.
Yeah.
And after about an hour, she was horrified and ready to not. She was done with that, and she said that she could see the demons roaming the earth and on people's backs.
You could probably just, can you imagine that? I mean, they probably were just looking at her like, you know,
I'm sure.
these evil faces, just mocking her probably.
And she's, you know, she was like, be careful what you wish for, you know?
Well, you know, you can speak things into existence.
Exactly.
So you have to watch what you speak into existence, you know?
Right.
There was a ball player, I guess, that went for, he was a great, I can't remember his name, but he's a great pitcher and he's active in the Major League right now. And I guess he went from someplace, I think it was Baltimore or something like that, and he's pitching really great there, awesome. Went to a new place, I think of Seattle or something like that, and he walked into the stadium and kind of looked around, and he actually said out loud that, oh wow, I'm going to have a hard time pitching here. And that whole season, he had a hard time. He had a hard time, and once again, you can speak that stuff into existence. But this, you know, this random act of violence. I mean, you were, I can't remember, what was it, a Tom Petty concert that you went to?
Oh yeah.
And he was getting some video for one of my videos, and a fight broke out right in front of him there.
Yeah, just don't know why. Just two people started, then it turned into 4 people, then it turned into 6 people, and the next thing you know, it was just a mob.
Yeah, everybody's got a bunch of animosity built up in them against this, that, and the other thing. I'm not going to point my fingers. We all know what's going on in this country and in the world, but it's you know, if you don't have a job and the people that you put in charge of your life as far as the government goes doesn't do what they need to do, you know, this is all built. It almost looks like they're making it happen.
Well, you know? I don't know about that. I don't know if they're making it happen, but it's going to happen. You know,
it's in the book. So
I mean,
somebody's
look at what's going on in
happen.
Egypt right now.
Oh,
I mean,
exactly.
And it's just the same thing you were just saying. It's that the president there or whatever. I guess he just ended up being a dictator or whatever. But you know, he ran the country so poorly that, you know, I was watching Fox last night. And there was a gentleman on, it was late, and he was going, and there were just riots, you know, not only there, but there's riots spreading out, and it's in Jordan, there's Syria, everywhere, all around. Every country surrounding Jerusalem got riots breaking out. And the Muslim Brotherhood and the Hamas and the Shiites, the Sunnis, all these Muslims are starting to take over, and we're in trouble, people.
Well,
we're in trouble.
They want Sharia law and democracy, and you cannot have a chicken that lays yolks and a chicken that lays whites. You can't do that. And they're trying to put two things that aren't going to work together. You know?
Well, it's
but it's
they're
a farce.
working on a it's a farce.
It's a farce for unity.
It's a propaganda.
Yeah.
For the masses.
And they're going to have unification over there. And they're all going to be thinking the same way. And you know, I don't have a problem with the Muslim religion. I mean, they do have a lot of aspects in their book that are, you know, kind of like...
Well, I have a problem with it. They're not Christian.
Well, they do believe in the Old Testament. A lot of the Quran is written right from the Old Testament.
The problem is that, you know, I mean, people say, oh, a lot of people were killed in the name of religion. There's back to that random acts of violence, you know. But you don't blame the religion. You blame the people that are throwing that stone around. You know what I'm saying? And the Muslims seem to have it in their book that if you make them mad, now they can kill you.
Where would it ever say that in any religion that if you're supposed to love your God supposedly?
Exactly.
Why would you want to go out and destroy things that He's created?
Well, they say they preach love, and then right there I've read it where it says to kill Christians and Jews.
Well, look how they treat their women.
Exactly. And
so where Jesus told us to respect our wives.
Oh, and that's
to
another
love
thing.
our wives.
They say that Jesus is going to
our
come
wives.
back and apologize for the Christian religion.
Okay.
No, this is what their book says, and that He's going to tell the world that He has changed over to Muslim.
They're dreaming.
But see, this is what
Smoke
I'm
some
saying.
more hash.
They manipulate the words so that they can do whatever they want, and it's okay. You see what I mean? Our God has told us, I want these people destroyed, and I want their grain destroyed, and I want their children destroyed, and their livestock destroyed.
Yeah.
And our God told His armies to do that, and they didn't do that, and they were punished for it. Okay, but God's not telling us to go around. I mean, Jesus has preached love. Love.
Love
when He
your
comes
enemy.
back, when He comes
So
back,
you can build up riches in heaven
Well-
and be blessed by your Father. All that, that's what He
Absolutely.
preached.
a lot of people say, "What would Jesus do?" And I'm not interested in what He would do. I'm interested in what He's gonna do.
Well,
Okay.
He's not coming back as a happy camper.
Exactly. This is,
I mean, He still loves everyone, I'm sure.
Oh, exactly.
No matter what their religion. And I
But
know
if
He loves all of us because He created all of us, but I'm sure He's not happy.
Well, it's not going to be a random act of violence at the Battle of Armageddon.
No, it's not.
You
That's a planned thing, and
Exactly.
it's something that the Lord needs to do to purge the
And
earth of all the evil.
If you do the math, you're thinking, the Battle of Armageddon, let's reverse engineer this a little bit. The Battle of Armageddon, because they're picking on Israel, because they're not Muslims. They're Jews. So the Muslims are the ones, and the atheists, because the army from the north, they're mostly atheists. And that's why there's so much violence over there. If you look where the violence is, Jesus is not.
Exactly. And you know what's funny? I looked on. I have a map. On MySpace. When you're an artist, you have what's called a dashboard, and it'll let you know who's looking at you and who your friends are and all that stuff.
What country they're in.
You can look and see on the map, and it's just perfect. I mean, after the year that I've had that particular MySpace page, I've gotten friends from all over the world, but you can see on that map, anything that's yellow is not a friend. And it's like Egypt, Libya, Saudi Arabia,
Right.
Iraq, Afghanistan.
Exactly.
He's getting my picture. China,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because Jesus
North
isn't
Korea.
Because Jesus hasn't. I mean, there's small pockets. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
There's small pockets of Christianity.
But,
in every
but they
country.
can be exterminated.
Well, they
and have been.
And God bless the
and
missionaries
continue
that go into these areas to
Right.
try
Oh,
to
yeah,
preach the
because
word of God,
they're-
and God bless them, when they lose their lives.
Now-
Yeah, I mean, they're putting their lives in God's hands when they go out and into some of these dangerous places. And some of these places they go to, they're peaceful when they get there. But, in the way some governments are changing around today, you can be peace one day and a hostage or murdered or, a political pawn.
Well, I just really hate to call these people this, but did you hear what these morons in Iraq did? They let this lady go that they arrested. It was a hiker. Now they want her to come back so they can put her on trial.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
From where? Where's she from?
She's American.
Is she back here in America?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she left Iraq and they want her to come back now. Like she's
Oh,
gonna do
okay,
that.
yeah, sure. Well, I'll be right there.
Yeah,
But her
yeah,
two
yeah.
friends are,
I'll be right there.
Yeah.
but her two friends are still there.
Wow.
they're probably going to use them as leverage
as
to try to
leverage
get her
to get it
back.
back. It ain't gonna happen because we're not gonna deal with that, you know.
Well, they just want to kill.
They want to play
They
games.
want to kill. I mean, you know what the best thing would have been, and I was thinking about this the other night, Jimmy Carter should have dropped a big old nuke on Iraq when they took those hostages for
Iran.
400, or Iran for 444 days.
Well, check this out. I was watching a show yesterday, and on that subject, and when the Shah, the fall of the Shah,
Right, right.
he was a brutal dictator,
Right.
but
They had somebody in place.
But they took him out. They forced him out with the promise of peace and democracy and all this, and it lasted 1 month. After 1 month, the Ayatollah came down and dropped the hammer on the people, and were persecuting people for anything they said against the Ayatollah's words. And,
Yeah, where's that fit
and
into
that's where it's
democracy?
been, and that's where Iran has been ever since. And they just keep going deeper and deeper into that devil's pit.
Exactly.
Devil's
Well,
pit.
they're,
I think that is the heart of Satan right there in Iraq, and it's spreading for all these
Mesopotamia.
countries right now.
Yeah, that's Mesopotamia. They call
Yes.
that. I mean, it used to be what, Prussia
Right.
or Persia?
Persia was Iraq, yes.
Yeah, Prussia was over by Germany and Russia, I think.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but Persia, yeah.
They weren't too kind either.
Well, look at that. Look at how the world map has changed
Oh, yeah.
in just the last 100 years.
Oh yeah,
You know?
my grandmother came from Austria-Hungary.
Yeah.
It was one country.
Right.
Now it's Austria and Hungary.
Right.
So yeah, I understand that, and they left because of persecution right after the First World War and just before Hitler came into play there.
Right.
So they got out at the right time. Or I don't know. I might not be here.
Right.
Yeah,
You know?
because Hungary was occupied. I don't believe Austria.
Well, I'm not a.
Or no,
Well, if you want to ask me about the Civil
Switzerland,
War,
I
I can.
think's the ones that set that one up.
Yeah, the Swiss were
Swiss,
neutral, but
yeah.
everybody else was occupied by
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah.
But well, look at that. Hitler was elected in as a democratic president, and
Right.
look what happened there. So you got to, getting back to Egypt again here. They're, and you said Iran. Well, they had somebody with the democracy thing after they kicked that Shah out of there or whatever. They brought the Shah back in for a little while, and then the Ayatollah took over.
Right.
But they tried. And it's the same thing going on in Egypt right now, with this, and the violence is just escalating because the people, obviously aren't happy.
Well, a lot of
But
it
that's
is
not gonna
because
get
of
you
their
anywhere.
economy. The uprisings are because the governments are hoarding all the money. They're not feeding the people. They're losing
Yes.
jobs just like we are here.
Exactly
I mean,
correct.
how long is it going to take before we start seeing Americans start doing this?
It's not going to be very long, I can tell you, because, like I said, the random acts of violence seem to be where Jesus is not, and they're taking the 10 Commandments out of our courts, they're taking the Lord's Prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance out of our schools. So they're removing Jesus, and
God, we
They're
trust
moving
off our
God.
money.
Yeah.
They're trying to just take God out of the picture.
Exactly.
And this country was founded on Christian values, founded on the fact that Jesus was and is and will always be.
Exactly. They came here because they were being persecuted where they were at, and they wanted freedom. And the only way you can get freedom, the freedom they were talking about, is the freedom that is given to us by God. Okay? We have the right. We have rights. They're inalienable rights that God has given us.
Well, human rights are basic.
Yeah,
And that does come from God, and
well,
from His grace and mercy it does. But
and it's common sense, but there's
His
not
love.
there's not a lot of people that have common sense.
I know it's not in the Bible, but the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's just
Exactly.
really that simple, and people just don't use that anymore.
Well, we're divided.
I saw this video the other day on Glenn Beck, and this lady's sitting on the bus minding her own business, and these two ladies, and mind you, one of them had 2 children with her,
I saw that.
just got up and just started beating this lady, just beating her up, and the kids are freaking out. And
They even
crying
got
and
run
everything.
over.
Yeah.
In the fiasco, they got trodden.
Right. And then the bus stopped and locked the doors, and everybody ran out the window, even the victim. So it makes
Wow.
what is happening
Okay,
today? It's like,
you know what the worst part of that video was? Nobody stood up to help her.
Probably not.
I don't think
That
it
would
was
be the
anybody
worst
but the
thing.
bus driver.